Okay, we have a lot to get through for this episode, so let's get to it. Gorgosaurus, who's the loser cousin of Albertosaurus, who's the loser cousin of Daspletosaurus, who's the loser cousin of Tyrannosaurus Rex. And to be honest, Tyrannosaurus Rex is kind of a loser. This late Cretaceous apex predator has been found in North America, mostly in Canada and Montana, which means that they're either really polite or crazy about guns. Fossils of Gorgosaurus have shown it to be about 30 feet long and about 2.5 tons. Further examinations of the fossils have shown that they were actually pretty fast for their size, although I couldn't find any information on just how fast they were, so I'll just guess at 30 to 40 miles an hour at top speed. I also question how it was an apex predator when it lived alongside Daspletosaurus, which was larger and more powerful. Maybe that extra speed really meant something. And of course, because it's a part of the Tyrannosaurus family, it would have used biological warfare and hunted in a pack. Now I know what you're thinking. Gorgosaurus was featured in the Walking with Dinosaurs reboot, Walking with Dinosaurs 3D. Needless to say, I was not impressed, as a lot of the marketing conveyed the idea that this was not for me. Except for the fact that it had Walking with Dinosaurs in the title. I hate this thing with a fiery passion! And honestly, I hope I never have to review it. Not just because it's bad, but because it's such a waste of potential. A lot of scenes from the movie could have worked if they played it straight and simple, but obviously they didn't do that. For all of you that don't know, Walking with Dinosaurs 3D was meant to be just a straight up dinosaur documentary, until someone decided to put in voice acting. Celebrity voice acting. It's distracting to say the least.
I think you might have just jinxed that guy, Alex.
Ooh, sorry boss, that's on me. Keep it real, buddy.
However, this is still a review of Gorgosaurus, so we'll only focus on the scenes that directly focus on the creature, mostly because I want to keep my sanity. Here we go. So if you can ignore the eyes and ears bleeding problems of the first scene, the plot is supposedly focused on a Gorgosaurus tooth. Spoilers, it's not. The story is more or less focused on a Pachyrhinosaurus, and the Gorgosaurus tooth doesn't show up until the very end and contributes nothing to the plot. So why have it at all? Well, Jurassic Park had the appendage of a carnivorous dinosaur, might as well have it here. The whole Gorgosaurus tooth is really confusing to me, because the only voice acting is coming from a few Pachyrhinosaurs and one bird dinosaur, which means that it's yet another kid-friendly dinosaur adventure focused on herbivores as the heroes. Boy howdy, I never heard of that before. But apparently this tooth allows this kid to view the past? What? How? Why? And isn't this just the same plot as the Magic School Bus?
Seatbelts, everyone! Please let this be a normal field trip. With a friend? No way!
Or maybe it's more like a fever dream that this kid's having.
Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. What's wrong? You never heard a bird talk before? Then birds looked a little more like this.
Okay, yeah, definitely a fever dream. When we do go to the past, the very first dinosaur that we see is in fact a Gorgosaurus. And what does it do? It wakes up and then nothing else. Wow, just wow. A great way to introduce such a great carnivore. Also, don't expect the Gorgosaurus to be treated like a character, more like a force of nature. Which would be pretty original if Land Before Time didn't exist. They mostly serve as the whenever something bad happens plot point. Like in one scene where a full-grown Pachyrhinosaurus is taken down by a Gorgosaurus. And it's just dreadful because they only go for one camera angle. Good grief, you can do better than that. Like, give us some crane shots or some 360 stuff, just something! Okay, so Gorgosaurus is more formally introduced about half an hour in via John Leguizamo narration. We traded Kenneth Branagh for John Leguizamo.
Gorgosaurus, meaning fierce lizard, carnivore.
Thank you for that.
Nicely done.
No, not really. Mostly because that's my job.
But I think a little more is needed with this guy.
Blah blah blah, stuff I already told you, blah 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 blah, don't need to hear this, blah blah blah, don't want to be sued.
And if you like teeth, he's got teeth. 60 of them.
But not as many teeth as Tyrannosaurus. Kinda symbolic, really.
His powerful legs propelled him to blazing speeds of up to... Well, no one really knows, but he certainly was faster than you.
Good grief! I tell you more about Gorgosaurus than this movie does. And it's walking with dinosaurs!
In two tiny little arms, he... I'm sorry, seriously, I mean, what's up with that?
Yes, yes, very funny. Move on.
The Gorgosaurus had a large brain. I'm sorry, I can't take him seriously with those tiny little baby hands. I mean, look at him, he's so cute. But make no mistake, despite his comically miniature arms...
That wasn't just a joke that wore out its welcome. That was a joke that was not invited and still wrecked. Fuck it. No, move on. Okay, first big action scene, and it's okay. At least it shows some of the tactics that pack hunters like Gorgosaurus would have used. Again, it would have been nice to have the Gorgosaurus' perspective, you know, how they come up with these plans and whatnot, but that would mean that they would be voice acted, and I don't want voice acting to begin with, so never mind. Sadly, Gorgosaurus doesn't contribute anything to the movie until the very end, where our hero Pachyrhinosaurus takes charge and commences the final action scene. This is also where we see the Gorgosaurus tooth being separated from its owner. Again, this story is not about Gorgosaurus or his tooth. It's just a plot point in his story, which means that we need a... No, we don't. We don't need a sequel. We don't need a sequel. And that's about it. I got nothing to say to that. Let's just... Final thoughts on Gorgosaurus. In my opinion, I'm not really interested in the Tyrannosaurid family, mostly because I like dinosaurs that are nicely proportioned, whereas Tyrannosaurids are obviously not. That huge rounded head is just silly to me, and I can think of plenty other predators that can make for far more effective killing machines. Well, except for the biological warfare thing. Tyrannosaurus got everyone beat on that. The only thing that makes Gorgosaurus stand out from his cousins is the slight alteration of his legs, hence the increase of speed. Otherwise, he's just another Tyrannosaurid. As for walking with dinosaurs 3D, yeah, no. Now I would draw the hat for the next one, but oh no, not this time. I call upon the powers of terror. Bring me a creature from beyond the Mesozoic era! I'm getting something. I'm getting something. I'm getting it. Terry Gotes.